Okay, this is going to be my really quick tutorial on planting a microgreen seed tray. So we're going to start with getting a cup and weighing out 1 ounce of seed. This is kohlrabi, and we're going to get 1 ounce of seed here. And we just need to be close. That's close enough. Alright. Put the seed back up because we don't want to drop it. Alright. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to grab one of these trays that has the holes in it. And we're going to put it on top of a white tray. I just use white because it's easier to distinguish between them. Black would work just fine. And then we get 2 big scoops. Get a scoop of soil. Yeah, it's going to need a little more. Usually takes 1 scoop, but I'm working with 1 hand, so we're going to need more. Okay, so let me make this a little wider angle. No, wrong wide angle. There we go. So just distribute this. If you see any large chunks that don't belong in there, get rid of them. They seem to think you want to know that it's organic matter. Alright, it's good enough. Now, just flatten it out reasonably well. Usually I just use my little scoop to do that with. Get it all flattened out. Now this is the secret ingredient, is the next thing we're going to do here. We're going to come over here and we're going to get some coco coir. This has more of a spongy-like matter to it, and the seeds sprout really good, but it has no nourishing value to it. So the problem with it is that it doesn't nourish your plants, but it does cause great germination, because your plants to germinate need moisture and oxygen. Can't forget the oxygen. So the problem is, I don't know what they lack when they're just on the, I don't know if it just doesn't get good contact with the soil or what the deal is. So you just spread that around so that when the plants grow up, they go through this coco coir right away. And you don't need much, you just need a fine layer. I probably got too much in this particular one. And I'm going to flatten it all out. Okay, now I've got it flattened out. Okay, now the next thing you want to do is you want to take your spray bottle and you want to spray this down. The reason you want to spray this down is so that the seeds will stick to it. Because what happens is you put the seeds in and the seeds like to bounce. So now we've got our 1 ounce of seed over here. And we're just going to try to evenly distribute them here. I usually go around the edge first. And then right here I'm just tapping it to make it fall in place. Alright, look at that. Okay. Alright, so now the seed's on there. Now let's go ahead and take the sprayer again and kind of spray them down in. Trying to get it to shift to close up. These are all sprayed. Alright, so once you've got it saturated pretty good, stop. Get a black lid. Put the black lid on. Now what this causes blackout. So any of the seeds that we've got, now and then I can just lift the whole tray. So I get a white tray, my middle one that has the holes in it, and I get a black tray, and I go put it on the done stack. Okay. Then I've also labeled, oh no, I didn't label this one. Shoot. Instructions, go back. Before you spray and get the darn thing wet, doggone it. Now I'm going to have to wipe off an area. Remember that this is kale. Get my little marker. Now, you see in here, I've got written on here 1 ounce, and then G 2 to 3, B 4, H 6 to 10. So the G stands for germination time. It's got a 2 to 3 day germination. Blackout is 4, and H is 6 and 10. So 2 to 3 day germination, blackout 4 days, and harvest in 6 to 10 days. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, and when you're just starting out, it's easier if you write that information on here. So I start with the date, because we don't know how many days it is if we can't remember the date. And of course I would have a hard time remembering the date. So let me go wide angle again. So June 19th, and this is kale. It's nice to know what you're eating. And then we've got 1 ounce of seed. The reason you want to write that down is you might want to vary it. You might say, okay, this is too much seed or not enough seed. And then we're going to put G, germination 2 to 3, B for blackout 4, and H for harvest 6 to 10. Now, all of these figures are from the date that you seeded. So, if it germinates in 2 days, that's fine, but you're still going to black it out. On this particular one, you're going to black it out a full 4 days. Others of them, like here, let me just show you golden cabbage. It's got a germination of 1 to 3, blackout 3 to 5, harvest 8 to 10. Now, those are just guidelines on these. So once you get used to growing these, you aren't even going to write that down. I normally don't write that down. But I just did for you guys so that you see an example, so that you say, okay, today's the 19th. How long do I want to keep it in blackout? Now, what blackout does is it allows the plants to know, it thinks, now see, we've planted this with no soil on top. That's because we want this germination to be very, very consistent, and I don't want anything blocking that plant growing up. So here's the topsoil. This black lid is the topsoil. And so what you want to do is you want to let it grow. It'll grow against that lid, and then as it's coming up, you're going to see the plants are going to bend like this, and then they're going to straighten up. As they straighten up and they hit that lid, it makes the seed hull fall off of it. So it's that motion. Now you'll see them bend like this. That's okay. If you see if you see it really trying to push up, and not that top bend, but down the stalk, you see it kind of starting to squiggle, then you're probably keeping the weight on it too long. So what we want to do is when you first germinate, it germinates significantly better if it's got weight on this. So when I take this inside, I'm going to take a flat paver stone, one of the big flat top pieces. Well, I'm not explaining it well, but a piece of concrete is going to go on the inside there. It weighs 15 pounds. And I'll put the whole stack under this. Now, as these start to germinate, you will not believe it, but there's enough force that these trays will will put on that rock, that these trays will actually lift that rock up. It'll start separating between here, and it'll actually push the rock up as they start to germinate and start to push their root in. The other reason for the weight is you want that root to be able to dig down into the soil to give it a good strong foundation. But after it germinates and after it's kind of made this transition facing up, now you want to give it room to grow up. But so to do that, what you do is you take this tray and you turn it over. Now this gives the little plants room to grow, but you're still keeping them away from the light, because that's the only way that you're going to get a long stem. Because normally what happens is these things go through the stage where they come up, now they're facing up, and they've shed the hull off, and they want to go up until they see light. Once they see light, then the stem quits growing. Microgreens, you want a really, really long stem so that you can cut them and not take the chance of getting any of that soil in with it, and the presentation is beautiful. Plus you can eat the stem too, because the stem is very, very, very tender. So so what you're going to do is you're going to take these in the house, you're going to put the rock on them, and twice a day you're going to lift these up and you're going to check them once in the morning, once at night. If they look dry at all, you're going to spray them down with water. Now the other method of doing this, which is what I'm going to do with these, besides opening up the lid and checking them every single day, is to take them and really saturate that surface well with water when you first plant them like this. Now you don't want it so wet that the water drips through. You see how all that dirt down there is dry? You don't want the water dripping through. You don't want to put so much water that it drips through. You want to put just enough water that it kind of gives you a good water base in there. And then if you felt like just putting this in some place and ignoring it for 3 days, you can do that. I do it sometimes I don't, depending on the humor that I'm in. But, as long as your seeds stay dry, that's all you're caring about. All right, so that is how you seed a tray. So this blackout time, like I said, you let it germ, the 2 to 3. The blackout says 4. I don't follow that. What I do is when I flip this tray over, and you're going to figure out which ones you want to do this with. When I flip this tray over, I wait till it grows up and it starts pushing this tray up. And then I know that that's the time to just take this tray off. During that stage, you can actually stack all these trays together with just the lids done in the other direction. I'll show you another video of kind of when we're at that stage. Good luck planting. Hope everybody has fun. Bye.